Question number 11. Accra Investors Help AIH, a large stock market data provider in Ghana, provides stock market data to investors across major markets in Accra. On 1st June 2022, the data provider sold a client access to its real-time data for 3 years at an invoice price of 3.6 million. The client has the right of access to AIH database anytime, 24 hours each day, to obtain real-time data about stock prices around African market. On the same date, AIH sold to another client for 800,000 access to 30 years of historical data for the next 2 years. The client has the right to access the data containing historical information from 1992 to 2021, 24 hours each day, and is also free to download the data and retain it after the 2 years access to AIA system has elapsed. Advice on how much revenue AIH will recognize for the year ended 31st March 2020 on each 2 contracts. Now, this arrangement falls under licenses. When you look at it, they've given you 2 scenarios. First scenario is talking about what? The company is providing service to its clients. One client or a client bought the license to access data from Accra Investors Hub, and the contract is for 3 years at an invoice of 3.6. So that's the first contract. So the first contract says that they can have access to the database anytime, 24 hours each day, to obtain the real-time data about stock prices around Africa and around the world. Real-time data. So what this means is that if it is real time for a period of 3 years, it means they will continue updating the system for the 3 years whilst you are using it. So they've given you licenses for the 3 years to access the data for real time database. So when we say something is real time data, it means it is live. It is live. So they keep on updating the data as and when they receive new information on the data. That is what the first scenario is talking about. When you look at the second scenario, it's talking about historical data. So the data, the period of 30 years, and it is it is 800,000. The asset to 30 years of history. So the data, the number of years of the data is what they are holding is 30 years. But they can have access to the data for 2 years. You understand? And they said it is historical. It means it is not live or it is not updated. When you say something is historical, it means it is past records. So they will not update it. Unlike the first one, which they keep on updating the system with new information. So that is the conversation with this. Sorry. All right, so what is the name of the company? The name of the company is AIH Limited, right? Okay, so that's the name of the company. They have 2 sets of data that you have to deal with. One is real time. Now, with the real time, what did they say? They said that they have contracts price of how much? 3.6 million. And then the term of the contract is 3 years. All right. So they want to find how do you record this. So here with this one, because it is it is live, and they are they will keep on updating the system for the period of 3 years. It means it is we call it contract or revenue over the period of what? Of contract. What this means is that it means the contract for the 3 years, the one who is supplying you with what? With the data will keep you up to speed. He will keep on what? Updating you. He will keep on updating you for the period of 3 years. So when you pay this money to him, he cannot, you understand? So here, two things must satisfy that. They are what? They are performance obligation and what? Transfer control. Once you pay this money, there should be performance obligation on the side of what? Of the company to also provide what? Real time data update for you. When they receive this money, they cannot instantly record 3.6 in their what? In their book, because they have what? Performance obligation to execute. Because the obligation is not instantly, because it will be what? It will be over the period of the contract. So they also have responsibility to what? To continue updating the system for the period of 3 years. So for that reason, when they pay, they cannot what? Recognize revenue instantly with all the money. That is the idea. So once they also have performance obligation, because it can happen that maybe year one they are able to what? Provide you with the real-time data. Year two, they are unable to what? Provide you with what? The data. Then they have to refund the money back to you, because there's performance obligation to perform. If they didn't, then they have to refund them. The reason why they cannot go and then what? Report 3.6 million in their book, because performance obligation is for the period of 3 years. How did they report or record revenue? So all they have to do is that they will come here. Then we will say what? Allocation of what? Of contract price. So how do you allocate it? So you have what? The total contract sum is what? 3.6. So let me have 30. We have 3,600. And then the term of the contract is how many years? 3 years. So when you divide, what do you have? So you will have yearly revenue to be how much? So when you divide 3,600, you give you 1,200. All right. So that is it about the real-time data. Now let's look at the second scenario. The second scenario is what? Is historical data. Historical data. So they said that the contract sum is how much? 800,000. And then the term of the contract is what? 2 years. You see. So with this one they said it's a historical data, it means this data is not updated. They will not update the data. They are what? They are data that they have installed. Over 30 years data they have installed. So they will do nothing about it. So all that they have to do, they will just give you access that you can go and then pick the data that you wanted. You understand? So for after 2 years, they will shut you up. They will shut you off. So with this one, it's like you are buying book. So when you buy a book, all that you needed are in the book. So you receive the book, then you pay, then you go. The person will recognize revenue, because the book will not be updated unless maybe the person will want to do new edition. Then you have to come and buy the new edition. That is the difference. So with this one, you realize that there is what? There is performance obligation. Performance obligation is what? Is satisfied, because you paid and you received the data. And then transfer control is also what? Done. Transfer control is what? Is successful. You understand? So that one too is what? Is successful here. This one you can what? You can recognize revenue. So this is what we call contract at the what? At the date, revenue at the date of what? Of contract. You call it revenue at the date of what? Of contract. Ultimately, you recognize the revenue when performance obligation and transfer control is what? Is satisfied. So here you have what the contract sum to what to be 800,000. So you can say allocation of what of contract what price to what to performance obligation. Performance obligation. How do you do that? So this one is simple. So you can just recognize what revenue. That's all. So the price is how much? 800,000. So here you can now do your extra. So you have what profit and loss what extract. So you have what your revenue. Yeah. You have what your real time data. Real time data. So here this one is what the year one. It is what the accounting year ends with 2023. Okay. So we can report as at what 2023. Okay. All right. So real time data. So the real time data first year one 1,200, and then historical data. That one we record all the money for that year, which is what 800,000. Or this one I hang 30. So here will also be what will be here will be what 800. So you see the total value will be 2,000. So that is it about this question also. All right. So this is what this question is what license. Thank you.